lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance from Cub Scout Troop 126, it's Luke Parrish. Luke?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Where I use an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain an audible and clear record, request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. Recording device be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office, shall be the official record of Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Present.
Mrs. Gentek?
Here.
Mrs. Trotta? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present.
Mayor?
Here.
Mr. Maffa?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
I would ask, starting down there, who our guests are, if they would introduce themselves.
Chris Craven. Luke Parrish. Dan. Danny Ubicki. Gregory Gladys.
Is anyone else in the audience that need to be introduced? No? Okay. We have our helpers today, and we're going to have them participate with us, and at times they'll even do some voting. Oh yeah, they're going to be in charge. No, that clock doesn't tell how long. We can stay in forever. Until it's over, correct. First is a presentation, Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association cheerleaders. Chuck? We'll have all the coaches join us. Amanda, Andrea, Erica, Jenna, Vicky, another Erica. God, there's a lot of these. It is our pleasure tonight to honor the Gloucester Township Girls cheerleading squad for their success in Orlando, Florida at the International Championships. And I'll read the proclamation. Whereas Mayor David R. Mayor and Council of the Township of Gloucester are pleased to grant recognition to the Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association Wildcats for their outstanding achievements, and whereas the girls and coaches from the cheerleading program won the Americheer Junior Rec International Championship on March 18, 2012 in Orlando, Florida. And whereas the members of the 2011-2012 Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association Wildcats, and we'll name them later. Now therefore I, David Mayor and Council of the Township of Gloucester, do hereby commend the cheerleaders and coaches for their exceptional efforts and competitive spirit as evidenced by their accomplishment. Congratulations, ladies.
On behalf of the Girls Athletic Association, we are going to also present the trophy, the championship trophy, to the mayor and council, which will sit up in our trophy case up in the municipal building, as well as we have a plaque with the girls' pictures on it that from when they won the championship, actually out on the floor, and their names are on that plaque, and that will hang with the other plaques and the other awards from township organizations in recognition of the work that they did. There were 90 squads all over the world that attended this competition. These guys had a great job, and they scored very, very high, and they actually were 3 points away from being grand champions of the entire rec division. So they did a great job, and the mayor has certificates for everybody. So Coach Amanda Palumbo, Coach Andrea Palumbo, Coach Erica Monteleone. Erica is, mom's here. Erica is in North Carolina. Coach Jenna Ambrosino, Coach Erica Kanopka, and Coach Vicky Kanopka. I think Vicky is working tonight. We appreciate that. Okay, ladies, Samantha Carlson. Amber DeShields. Nicolette Evans. Girls, stay up here for 1 second. Stay up here and line yourself up here for a minute. Haley Glover. Alyssa Keller. Lauren Kasulis. Jillian Morrison, Nicolette Mountas, Alyssa Muldoon, Amanda Nolan, Samantha Nolan, Sharon Pritchett, Peyton Stevens, Betty Tedeschi, Lexus Temple, Paige Temple, and Victoria Warren.
Thanks, Chuck. Well, good evening. Let me first offer my congratulations on a job well done. I have to tell you that I've always said we're going to put Gloucester Township on the map, but I was just kind of thinking, maybe the United States. You went internationally in this competition, and you should be very, very proud of your accomplishments and how well you have represented our community. And we can't tell you how proud we are of your efforts. I also want to say thank you for the time that you put in to this sport, the energy, the discipline, the enthusiasm that you show. It really bodes well for you as individuals, but of course it's great for our Gloucester Township community. The bad news is that we're going to have to build a new trophy case because we don't have anything that large enough for this to go into. But that's great. Len will get right on that. We'll get that built, and next year you can bring back an even bigger one. So this has been great. It's been great for our community. You should be very, very proud of what you have accomplished. To the coaches as well, teaching and handing down your talents and your abilities certainly goes a long way to making these young ladies who they are. So thank you and congratulations to you. Chuck, do you want to present this trophy now? How do you? I don't know if we're going to be able to lift it. I mean, that is just.
Well, it's not that heavy.
Oh, okay.
The worst part of it was trying to get it on the plane back. You all know security. And we want to thank Betty for clearing it for us and taking it back and in one piece. So we're going to put this upstairs. And we also would like to present you guys with this plaque, which shows the girls and their names on it that will be hung upstairs. And to go with the other ones. Ladies, if you haven't seen that, we'll show you in the back of the room when we break. So, Mayor, thank you very much for all your time and help with this.
You're welcome, and again, congratulations on your efforts and best wishes as you continue with this year's. Where's this year's competition, John?
We don't know yet.
Oh,
We're
okay.
still waiting.
All right. Well, congratulations to you again. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Brian?
We'll take a 2-minute break.
Go make that comment. Okay. I'll bring it down. All right. How's it going? You sucked up all the light. No. Hell,
I did what's wide.
Here it is.
I don't have
Call the meeting back to order. Please have a roll call again.
Mr. Hutchison? Present. Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Here.
Mrs. Gensack? Here. Mrs. Strato? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present. Now have the first public portion. Anyone wanting to talk about any agenda items only, please raise your hand, come to the microphone. Mr. Egger?
Yeah, Richard Edgar, Hickstown Road. I'm looking at 094 and 095 having to do with the affordable housing at Revere Run. Is that the Revere Run on Hickstown Road?
This is the amendment to those resolutions for the, I believe that's Jarvis Road? I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I live next door to Revere Run, and I really don't want to see any more so-called affordable housing coming in. My shed's been broken into twice, our mailboxes get kicked. They do have enough problems down there with the present Revere Run, I'm sure, the police. And I'm hoping that all the, I haven't been notified of this, and I'm sure none of the other residents have either, and I hope they're going to be notified in advance. That's all I have to say.
This is an amending resolution. The original resolution, there was an amendment when the project came in, amending it from 74 to 80 units. This is just an amendment of what has already been approved. These three resolutions are amending resolutions.
But why haven't any of the residents been notified of this happening when nobody was ever notified? The residents within these prescribed footage.
This is the township-owned property that was up for public sale. This was originally at one time at the Housing Authority. Then it's been turned back to the town for the project. Then it went up for a public sale, public bid. This company was awarded the project as best bid and best responsible company to do the project. It's been advertised several times over. Planning board has already approved the project when it was with the Housing Authority. Now it's going to be developed through the township. The only thing these three resolutions do is amend the number of homes. Housing Authority, when they had the project, the planning board approved 100. Township is now at 80.
Okay, but I still believe that the residents should be notified and made aware that this is happening so that they can have some voice in it. Thank you.
Linda Musser, Cameron Circle. I have a question on one of the proposals on tonight's agenda, the proposal for the architectural services for Academy Hall. That looks like it's one of the, I think a couple meetings ago, Steve Bach was named as the architect, and in here it says he'll be getting paid $18,000 some odd dollars. I guess I have a couple questions. Where is Academy Hall?
Black Horse Pike, right by the library.
Okay. Who owns the building now?
The township.
The township owns it currently?
Correct.
Okay. And Main Stage is going to be the sole entity that uses this building?
No, the sole entity, but
It would be under a lease arrangement.
It would be under lease arrangement, so...
It would pay a lease for the building.
Okay, because it says that Gloucester Township shall hereafter be referred to as the owner. So I didn't know if they owned it right now.
I understand they own it.
Township has owned the Academy Hall back in the 80s. At one point, the counseling services was in there, and then the Housing Authority was in there for several years, plus others. And now it's being converted for this purpose.
For the use for Main Stage. Okay, but Main Stage will be renting the space from Gloucester Township so that the taxpayers who are paying the bill for the architect will at least be getting something back in the way of rent, correct?
The building needs to be repaired anyway, whether the Main Stage goes in there or anybody goes in there. The building is, I believe it's not complete.
Okay, so the township as the landlord is going to fix it up, but the township will be getting the revenue generated from that building.
We always had revenue from that building. There was always rents for everybody that was in there.
Okay, because it doesn't clarify where these are, and I think it would be, I think,
Next to the
if,
library. Sorry.
no, I understand that, but I think that in the future, when you're referring to parcels in the agenda, rather than just referring to it as a lot and block, that you also put a physical address, because it would give people an opportunity to actually go out and see where the property is. And then as a follow-up to Mr. Eggers' question on Resolution 9495, Are they the two parcels that were discussed about 2 weeks ago at the meeting? The low to moderate housing that's going to be built, the rental units?
Correct.
Okay. Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, but that did not come in front of the planning board. Because I had asked Mr. Lechner why it did not come in front of the planning board, and he said that it went in front of the zoning board because they were going in for a density, for an increase in the density. So it did not come in front of planning. So planning board was not, because I had questioned that. I thought I missed something in maybe a meeting that I had missed. I had gone back through all my paperwork and didn't see anything. So that was not, brought up in front of the planning board at all. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
And then there was another thing on the agenda, and was the something with the housing also, and it had a dollar amount in there, but the dollar amount that was actually written out in words did not match the dollar amount that was in the parentheses, and that was, I should have marked that on here. I think that they should correct that too. Something that it had to do with this state housing and New York.
093 then.
What was it? 93? It was written out, and it was in a couple places where it had 300 and some thousand, and then in parentheses it was like 264,000. Oh, here it is. No, let's review. Oh, that's not it.
Do you know what you
The liquor license, I can't
93. Yeah, that's not it. It's not 93. That's for cleanery license. Oh, wait, I might have it in here. I mixed my papers up.
It's Resolution 087, Section 2. The Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, on behalf of the Township Council, is authorized to file an application for financial assistance in the amount of $312,894, and then the bracket says $264,000.
That was it.
Which HUD has indicated will be available to the township.
So which, is it the 300,000 or is it the 260-some thousand?
I believe it's
Well, down in the later in the thing, it says 312,000, yeah.
Right, and in the parentheses, it has the 200 and some thousand in there.
Well,
Should you table that?
could you
Well,
confirm that number for us?
let me explain to you, it's the annual entitlement grant received through the block, it's the CDBG, so whatever it is, it is. It's not an application that we file. All we do is put a spending plan into place showing where the monies are going to be spent. So that spending plan is already moving through a public hearing. It has been scheduled for a public hearing or has had a public hearing.
But who's paying the money, the township or the state?
It's federal money.
It's federal money that's coming
Yeah.
into the township,
Coming into the township.
but we don't know whether it's the 300,000 or the 260.
Obviously,
Some
it's
thousand.
confusing by the virtue of this resolution, it is confusing. But that amount is going to be the same whatever it is.
What if it happens to be less than that? than either of those numbers.
Can we,
If it is, it is what it is. You're already getting what they're telling you you're going to get. They certify it, it's based on census numbers, it's based on other factors.
Okay, but shouldn't that be corrected in a resolution?
we're going to
Okay.
tell it's correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I don't know.
Well, it has to be correct. We can't pass it. Someone can call Joan Ellen and get the correct amount. But we can't pass it with two conflicting numbers. So, yeah, you can do it. We'll hold it until the end.
Hold it and uncut it.
Anyone else? Ready?
Good evening, Council. Ray Baldur, Ariel. On ordinance 12-07, what looks to be looking into energy savings, issuing a bond for $2.25 million. Looking through the background of the ordinance, and is there a simple breakdown of this, what will cost in development and what will cost in works, if at all?
Ray, I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Is the majority of this $2.25 million? There's some money allotted for the development and surveying, architectural, and what have you, and some to work, or is that all? What is the breakdown in its simplest form? Because a common resident would read this. I mean, when you look at the resolution as a whole, not even a lawyer could knot that up as much as this is knotted up. And even in the simplest form, it's still complicated for the residents to see in a simpler form.
Yeah, Ray, the total amount is actually going for improvements. It's for the, whether it's heating, air conditioning, lighting. It's part of what we call the ESIP program, which is the Energy Savings Improvement Program that we've applied for and was recently approved by the state of New Jersey. It's a shared services agreement with the Black Horse Pike Regional School District and the Township. First time in the state that it's ever been done and approved by the local finance board. And so in essence, what happens is you borrow the money and the savings that are associated with the new lighting, boilers at the high schools, whatever it may be, pays for those improvements. And that has already been done and certified. We had to go through really two phases of this. The first phase, and this is all under our energy master plan, the first phase was the actual audit of the different buildings. So we had 7 buildings here in the township that we did, and then the township, the schools did their 3 high schools. After you do the audit, the team comes back and says, okay, this is what you can replace, and this is going to be the energy savings from doing that. That is then put into a calculation. It is then secondarily audited and verified by another company that is chosen by the state, if the state chooses these companies, to come in to verify that audit. Then we go up, once they say, yes, this is the savings you get from all those improvements, then you go up to the state the Division of Local Finance, get approval from them, which we did last week, to move forward with this project. And now we're in the process of doing the bonding component of it.
Okay. I guess what I'm looking at is, if we're looking to save on energy and save money, how much money are we spending to looking into how much we'll save, and how much is actually being spent on what we are producing to save?
Yeah.
And you're looking at $2.25 million. How much of that is going towards the actual work? How much is going towards just looking into how much we're going to save?
That's all going to the work.
This is all to the work.
Correct.
Okay. Now, my next question.
Just so you're aware, there's public hearings, because it's a ordinance of second reading, so there will be a hearing at that point. It's really when those questions.
Well, understood, but before you vote on it, if there are any questions that would arise, maybe.
But the public hearing is before we vote on it anyway.
And again, so that we have a greater understanding, so we can pose the proper questions with the understanding of the ordinance. I guess my next question would be, in a partnership or shared service agreement with the school district that has their own budget and the township has its own, how are we sharing in the expense of that? The township is going to float the bond. How will the responsibility ride on the school district that has their own budget?
They're paying us that, they're paying us back. They're in essence,
Like any other shared service.
They're going to pay their share of the total 2.2 million. So they're paying their share, we're paying our share. But instead of Ray, the school district doing their own thing and us doing our own thing, which would then add to the cost that you were referring to, the administrative cost, we did it together, so we would save that money, really economies of scale, and move forward with this project. Again, it's never been done in the state of New Jersey. We're the first community to do that, and we're very proud of it.
Understood.
Just
And
to add to that, Mayor, the township as well as the school board passed their resolutions for a shared service agreement, to sign a shared service agreement that addresses how this money is being paid from the school district to the township.
is there a percentage split that's agreed upon in the shared service, or is that automatic 50/50?
I guess it's based on the actual.
It's based upon their actual work. Tom, what is the school district out of the 2.2 is what, 1 point?
I think 1.5, 1.6. But bear in mind, these are estimates. The project has not gone out for bid yet. So when the project goes out for bid, then we'll know our final numbers, and then we have a breakout of who's responsible for what. That'll predicate how the lease arrangement with the school will be built up. And I think that's over, what, a 15-year period, the lease? And bear in mind, too, that this went before the local finance board and had to receive their approval. That was completed, I believe, a week ago, Wednesday.
Okay. And when it states that we are engaging in the services of Blue Sky, is that the proposed contractor, or is that how does that work into the ordinance?
Blue Sky has been working on the ESID program all along.
Okay. And last but not least, and I apologize when I said good evening, council. Also, good evening and welcome, distinguished and honored guests of the Boy Scouts. Very, very nice to have you here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
In other hands, we close the public portion. Proclamation.
Whereas the administration of the Township of Gloucester value and appreciate the dedicated members of our municipal workforce who each day strive to make our system of government and affiliated public services one of the most respected, efficient, and professional in the state. We take this opportunity to recognize the entire organization of public employees of the Township of Gloucester who each day make significant contributions to the well-being of the citizens of this great township. Whereas the employees of the Township of Gloucester perform a wide range of jobs that help improve the quality of life in the township. They vigilantly protect citizens' rights, defend crime victims, ensure public health and safety, ensure an efficient and well-trained workforce, and carry out a host of other duties entrusted to them to maintain the public good. Whereas these employees work to meet the growing needs of the diverse population, carrying out their jobs with professionalism and integrity, continuously striving to make government more accessible and accountable to others. And whereas Public Service Recognition Week, May 7th to 11th, is observed nationwide to honor the men and women who serve America as federal, state, and local government employees. And it is appropriate to designate a day to honor all employees of the Township of Gloucester, paying tribute to them collectively as one of the state's finest workforces. And whereas the Township of Gloucester is proud to join in expressing appreciation to all those employees who serve the Township for their hard work, dedication, and spirit of pride. Now, therefore, I, David R. Mayer, Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and Gloucester Township Council do hereby proclaim May 7th as Gloucester Township Employee Recognition Day in the Township of Gloucester, and call this observance to the attention of all residents of the Township of Gloucester and encourage them to commend the hard work and dedication of Township employees.
Thank you, Nancy. Appointment.
We thought we were doing resolutions. I didn't realize the public speaking was over, that we didn't all get a chance to
Ma'am?
talk.
There's a public hearing. There's another public portion at the end of the meeting.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Appointment.
Edward D. Pierce to fulfill the unexpired term of Joseph Pillow, Class 4, Planning Board.
Minutes.
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of workshop March and April. Regular minutes 2/27/12, 3/12/12, 3/26/12, and 4/9/12, and special minutes of 2/27/12 and 4/16/12.
Motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes, with the exception of the April 9th regular minutes. I was not present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. McCradden?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Proposals?
Drainage improvements at washout portion of bike path, signalization of Redbud Drive, Wilby Road, and Berlin Cross Keys Road, and proposal for architectural services for Academy Hall.
Motion to accept proposals.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler? Mrs. Gentek?
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. McCradden?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Yes.
Glenn, I think you wanted to,
Yes.
considering authorization of us to start to work on these, or at least the two that are involving our office.
Your
Next
next
one, we need the approval for, Tom.
all three, I'm asking, because your next one's not going to be until your workshops, May 7th, and your actual action meeting will be May 14th.
Okay. We need to have a straw poll council to approve Tom and the vendors to get started on these projects. Tom usually receives a letter with the job number because all these companies were approved at the reorganization.
Correct.
So if you can poll council for me,
We're going to do all three together?
all three together.
All three, basically a motion for authorization to commence.
Any question from council on what we're doing? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. McCradden?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. All right, we have ordinances of second reading. With these ordinances, there will be a public hearing. Ordinance O-12-07, refunding bond ordinance be providing for the funding of energy savings improvement program for the Township of Gloucester County, Camden, New Jersey, authorizing the issuance of up to $2,250,000 of general obligation refunding bonds of the township to finance the cost thereof, making certain determination and covenants in connection therewith, and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. As discussed earlier, this is to provide funding for the ESIP program and go into an agreement with the Black Horse Pike Regional School District and the township. Motion, we have a public hearing on this ordinance. Seeing no hands, we close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
With pride and appreciation to the mayor and to you, council president, I vote yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Yes. Ordinance of second reading, ordinance O-12-09. Ordinance amending Chapter 81 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This ordinance allows the township to make Maple Avenue as one way. Now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Seeing no hands, I'll close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler? Mrs. Gentek?
Yes.
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 Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Bianchini.
Yes. Ordinance O-12-10. Ordinance amending Chapter 81 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This ordinance allows the township to regulate traffic and parking at the Wawa on Sicklerville Road. Now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Seeing no hands, close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
Mr. Seiler,
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek,
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Strato,
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Mercado,
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini.
Yes.
Yes. Ordinance O-12-11. Ordinance amending Chapter 81 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code for the Township of Gloucester. This ordinance allows the township to make Shoes Landing Road and Route 168 as a right-hand turn only. Now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Seeing no hands, to close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
On the question.
On the question, and just for clarification, the council remembers that last meeting there was a question from the public as to whether or not this also prohibited going straight across the Black Horse Pike to Front Street. Since that question came up, we communicated with the chief and the traffic officer, and we added a letter C just for clarification to make it clear that it's a right turn only, no left turn westbound from Shoes Landing Road to southbound on 168, and no across. That doesn't change the substance and intent of the ordinance. We put that in there just for clarification because the question came in from the public.
Thank you, David. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
Mr. Seiler,
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek,
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Strato,
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Mercado,
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini.
Yes. Consent agenda. If any council person wants to remove any of these resolutions, please let me know now. I have a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So, second.
On the question,
On Resolution 087, Tom confirmed with Joe Mello, the amount is $264 and change. So the amount that was in parentheses listed on the resolution.
was the right amount.
Was the right amount.
The amount that was typed out was wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Musser.
Thank you.
Yes, the motion was first and second.
On the question, roll call.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
Mr. Seiler,
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek,
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Strato,
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Mercado,
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini.
Yes.
Resolution 120493, resolution for place-to-place transfer, expansion of premises, with plenary retail consumption license held by Texas Roadhouse Holdings LLC.
As the title states, this resolution allows for a place-to-place transfer of a plenary retail consumption license held by Texas Roadhouse Holdings. Dave, anything to add?
I believe everything is in order through the police and public advertising. It's in order for approval.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
Mr. Seiler,
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gentek,
Yes.
Mrs. Strato,
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Mercado,
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini.
Yes.
Yes.
And if I may, Council President, the next three resolutions, 094, 095, and 096, are strictly amending resolutions. There's no part of the previous resolution changing substance, except there was a request to change the number of units from 74 to 80. So all three resolutions are just amending resolutions, changing that one part only.
Can we do them all together,
You
Dave?
can do all three together because the major content of the resolution that dealt with the approvals that they needed and the density issues for their governmental and grant applications all remain the same. It just changes from 74 to 80 units.
Okay, unless council does not want to do it, we'll put them all together.
So I guess resolution R 1204-094, 095, and 096 are ready for approval as commented as amending resolution, only changing the number of units from 74 to 80.
And resolution 94 changes resolution 73. Resolution 95 changes resolution 74. And resolution 96 changes resolution 75. So with that, do I have a motion to approve all three resolutions?
I'll make a motion to approve all three of these resolutions.
I'll second that.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gentak?
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Trotto?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Banky?
Yes.
Yes.
Resolution 12-497, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, confirming the details of the sale of the Township's General Obligation Bond Series 2012A and General Obligation Bond Series 2012B to the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust in the state of New Jersey, acting by and through the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, pursuant to the 2012 New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust Financing Program.
As the title states, this resolution allows the township to have the sale of general obligation bonds in order to fund the environmental infrastructure trust program. Tom, anything to add to that?
This is for Cherrywood drainage and for Lake Manhattan.
Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gentak?
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Trotto?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Banky?
Yes.
Yes. We now will have a public hearing on the 2012 calendar year budget. Tom, you want to review the budget terms?
Yeah, total appropriations in the 2012 budget are $51,616,205. The amount to be raised by taxation remains the same as it has for the last three budget cycles, at $37,346,064. So this represents a zero increase in the amount to be raised by taxation.
Thank you, Tom. Council formed this subcommittee, and the subcommittee was composed of myself, Mr. Hutchison, and Mrs. Trotto, and we reviewed the budget at length with Mr. Cardis. Upon that renewal, our recommendation to the rest of the council is that we believe the budget is a tight budget, one that will continue to give the township residents relief with a zero increase. We believe the budget also is well done by the mayor and his staff, and along with Tom and his staff. And again, we congratulate all the department heads for keeping the belt tight and working to make sure that we continue to provide the services, that we continue to expand the police department as we are doing, and to make Gloucester Township the community that we so enjoy. With that, I asked if Mr. Hudson or Ms. Trotto, if you wanted to add anything to that.
I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of the process. It was a very rewarding experience for me, so thank you.
I had a conversation with my wife the other day, and I just said, we're really fortunate We're one of the few municipalities in the state of New Jersey who can produce successive budgets in a row without an increase. I certainly would not want your job, Mayor, but I think you're doing an excellent job. Thank you.
With that, we'll have a public hearing on the 2012 calendar year budget. This is just a hearing, this is not adopting the budget. Am I right, Tom?
Yeah, just a note, I did hand out an email that was sent from the Division of Local Government Services from DCA, and that was sent on April 12th, Thursday, April 12th. It's to the Chief Financial Officer. It says, due to the heavy volume of public budget hearings that have been scheduled for the next several weeks and staffing constraints at the Division of Local Government Services, the division will not be able to complete its review prior to every scheduled date. Your municipality should be prepared to move forward with the public hearing with the understanding that no budget action will be able to be taken except in those cases where the division has completed its review. So you cannot adopt tonight. You can hold your public hearing and you will adopt once the Division of Local Government Services contacts us and says that it's okay to move forward.
And now I'll open it up to the public for a public hearing. Linda?
Gloucester, Cameron Circle. Was the budget itself, when I went online to print out the agenda today, I did not see the budget. Was it posted online?
Yeah. My understanding it is online.
Yeah, it's
As
left-hand
introduced.
side, top icon, on the left-hand side, right on the front page.
Okay.
It's been there for, since we've introduced it, which was back in when.
Yeah, we posted it the day after we had our introduction.
Okay, I just wish that there was something in the, on the agenda that would have said that this was going to be a discussion point. I would have printed that out because, I hear comments that it's a tight budget, but I think that it would be nice if there was a little bit more detail as to what cuts were made, where were the cuts made, so that the residents could be assured that it's really going to be a zero tax
Oh,
increase.
it's a real zero. There's no question about it. There's
Yeah, but it's like looking at a blank piece of paper.
You're more than welcome to sit with Mr. Cardis and review it if you like.
Okay.
It's been on the web, our website. You're more than welcome to take a look at it.
You want to go to sheet 11 in the state budget document.
Sheet 11?
Sheet 11
Okay.
shows you a layout of the revenues anticipated, and it shows you the amount to be raised by taxation, and then the bottom line is the balancing number on the revenues to offset the appropriations. And then to compare that, you can go to the back of the budget to see the total appropriations, and that appears on sheet 29.
29?
Yep.
Okay.
And you'll also see when you look at 11, that the amount to be raised by taxation in calendar year 2011 was $37,346,064, and the amount in 2012 is $37,346,064.
Okay.
Therefore, zero increase.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Joanne?
Joanne Carr, 50 Clement Drive. I've come before asking about with the red light cameras and revenues and everything. I have a question with the budget. You anticipated on the red light cameras 1.29 million on last year's budget. And we realized considerably more than that. We anticipated, thank you God, snow removal. We didn't have to use any of it. Is there anywhere in this budget that reflects what was anticipated and what was used, what was left over that could go forward to this year's budget?
Yeah. Tom?
Well, when you talk about the red light cameras first.
Okay.
You're right, we anticipated 1,230,000. I don't know what the number was.
Right, 1.29, right.
We anticipated this year 2,230,000, so we're closer to the number that we're actually realizing.
Yeah, you actually realized almost 2 million.
Right, correct.
By the time, because the first time I got up, I thought there were errors, and they weren't errors, they just hadn't been completed. So by the time you got all of the fines completed, we realized maybe 5 or 10,000 shy of $2 million from red light cameras.
But that's why we didn't anticipate that last year, because we didn't know
Right.
what was going to be there.
Right.
So now going into a second cycle, we're more up towards the number that we can actually anticipate that we'll receive.
But that's like 700,000 to the good, and you're anticipating, as you said before, an extra million. You're going to take it up the extra 2.3. Okay,
So now, on the snow removal.
Right.
collection areas,
right. 2 years ago, we got beat up with snows. I mean, they cost us, I don't know how we even got out from under the price of the snowfalls. This year, what did it cost us?
very little.
Nothing.
But-
Next to
Yeah, but I
nothing.
would also make the point that this year is not over yet.
Correct.
December,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm hoping we don't get snow in December, but we have to be prepared for
No,
that.
June.
Yeah, right, exactly.
June
And
will get it.
I want to point out to you, we've already put in there $500,000. Now, that may seem like a lot of money, but a huge storm could wipe that completely out, and we have seen that in December.
What did you put in last year and anticipate for this year?
I don't recall the exact number last year. 'cause
It was more than 500, though.
I don't think it
I've
was.
never put more than
100.
Well, I thought there were 2 snowfalls that we had last year that were over $1 million in themselves. So I could see that you would anticipate more than that.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind, we did get FEMA reimbursement for a couple of those storms as well.
Right. Thank you, God. No, I was just wondering, you know, like, if we're ahead of the game this year, how is it reflected in the budget?
Last year, we appropriated $500,000. And I show expended, this is calendar year 2011, I show expended $351,289.25. That's the outside contractors,
Right.
last year.
last year. And then we put in for salt, in this year's budget, we have $100,000. Last year, we had $140,000, and we spent $107,000.
Well, I know it was a mild year, but I really appreciated the fact that we got out there with the brine on those few days that were cold, and it just really took care of all of the problems. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Right?
Good evening again, Council. Ray Polidoro, Ariel, and good evening again, gentlemen of the Boy Scouts. This is the public hearing for the budget, and the budget will be later introduced. Is this going to be the last public hearing on the budget, or will you allow another public hearing at the time of the introduction of the budget?
It will be adopted, not introduced. We've already introduced it, this is the public hearing, the next step will be adoption.
This is the last public hearing on that on the
Correct.
budget.
I believe it's correct.
Okay. And then I guess my question is, in its simplest form, is over last year's revenue, what was the increase in revenue from last year to this year in calendar year?
There's various revenue line items, I couldn't cite any specific.
And what I had requested from you, and I'm grateful that you sent that to me, did I read that correctly? And that was about 600,000 over last year, just in total overall revenue?
That figure actually sounds a little low, right? I think it was higher for that.
Okay.
I'm not positive because I don't have, what I would need to do is have the AFS statement in one hand and last year's audit in the other to tell you what the difference is. But our surplus obviously was more, we were able to anticipate 3.8 million in this budget.
Okay. And again, I guess my question in nature is, as I indicated before, with that much of an increase in revenue, and you introduced a zero increase, again, was it not under consideration maybe reducing the property taxes in the township rather than spending the surplus money?
I did not make that recommendation to them because I don't feel safe in doing that. There's a lot of uncertainty in the future years. The furthest I would have gone on the recommendation would be to hold the line on the taxes.
Unfortunately, for the residents, it's a great deal of uncertainty for taxpayers too. And when you've got a surplus and allowing folks to have a couple bucks back, sometimes is a help to the uncertainties of life outside of
I mean, we discussed it as the subcommittee, and Tom's recommendation was as he spoke. However, in my opinion, I'd rather have a zero and a great, and I mean a great chance of another zero next year, and possibly a zero after that, instead of giving it's like putting money down on a car. You know, yeah, I could put 10,000, but I'm going to put 5, so I have 5 in the bank. I think we're being financially smart about it. I think we're looking long term, which is not usually done in government. And I think, again, the budget the mayor and Tom and the directors put together does not allow for additional spending. And what it does allow is to maintain the services that the public want and need. And so I can tell you this, I'm continuing, as Mr. Hutchison did in past years, and as the rest of council is doing, wanting to continue a zero increase. And that's how we're looking at it. I think it's fiscally responsible to do that for the long term.
You have, with the expectations of looking forward to a zero increase for years to come, isn't it not within your language or thought process to, with any surplus, to give any money or any tax reductions back to the taxpayers? Are we always going to spend up to zero? The more money this town makes, and introducing zero budgets, in some aspects is admirable, but there's got to be a time when you got enough money where you can begin to return that to the taxpayers and not just spend it. Because I see in various work that's being done, there's people being paid some pretty high dollar amounts, hourly figures, contracts that are extremely generous, and we just are spending and spending surplus money, always looking to the future. And your future, you just indicated, was always zero. Never once the mention of returning any property taxes to the people of the township. There's got to be a point where this town's got enough.
You remember the years where there was 20-cent increases, when there was 15-cent increases? I think before the mayor it was 22-cent increase, or 23.
The 22?
I think.
What year was that?
I think that was last year of, I think, Mayor Hatton's term.
That was the first budget that Mayor introduced?
No, that was introduced by the Mayor Hatton, and you know that, right?
That was 12 cents at the time, up to 14.
Whatever it was, but we had increases over all those years. Again, I applaud the mayor, I applaud Tom and all the directors for tightening their belts and maintaining a zero increase. Yes, could we have given $1 back? Maybe. But again, I think the ideal is to continue giving the service that the residents that we talk to, and we've been around town for a whole lot last year, they want the services that they get, and they want the town. They want the town and the recreation that we provide. They want all those things. Yes, they don't want to pay any more, but they're happy if we can give it to them with no increase. And again, the rest of council can talk about it, but I believe that's where we are. I believe that's what we should do, and continue this, so that we don't have to go to the well and ask for money. We're trying to be fiscally responsible, and I know we are.
Okay, and again, with you, your future outlook of this township is zero. And I mean, is it?
If we could give a decrease, and we feel long term that was the most effective thing to do, I guarantee you, every one of us here, including the mayor and all the directors and all the people working hard, would do that. You know, again, we talk about fiscal responsibility. I think that's the responsibility we have here, is representing all the people and giving the best budget and the best services that we can. And I believe we do that, and I know we do that.
I'm not quite sure that the money is all well spent. I believe we have the finest police department in the nation, let alone our state and county. There's no doubt about that, and I hope that they always remain ours and only ours. There are some things that are being spent in $250,000 and $500,000 in this town that might not be the best money spent when people are struggling. And we're building new homes in the township when you can drive down any neighborhood from Blenheim and Hilltop through Blackwood, Clementon, and where the businesses are building in Ariel, the homes are being vacated. and we're looking to building new homes and spending a lot of money. Just was curious as to whether it was in the mindset of this council and this body, who,
Just if I can interrupt, what are the $200,000 and $250,000 spending allowances that are not?
the various amounts of money that are spent on contracts and getting surveyed, just various engineering firms and
Specifically.
listen, if I look at the budget and reading the budget is not as specific as it could be. I can only generalize from the numbers that each month, I wouldn't say every council meeting, but periodically, items are passed where it's just money spent, we're going to look into this, we're going to look into that, and that's all good. But case in point, I mean, is our township not again looking at the GEMS landfill to put solar panels up there? And at one time, did we not pay an engineering firm to look at that when it was turned down back in 2008? And we're going to pay them to do the same thing?
You said $250,000. What was the contract from Jeff's? 38,000? Is that correct?
Something like that, yeah, that was just preliminary investigations to see what was, within the preliminary investigation, just looking at possibilities and concepts that could be due for GEMS. It wasn't turned down, it's still proceeding. As you know, there's a hearing tomorrow night on a preliminary investigation, so we can declare GEMS, if the planning board goes along with it as an area in need of redevelopment, which will allow us to open that up to redevelopment plan and look at other possibilities for using it for renewable energies.
Correct me if I'm wrong, did we not go through that in 2008? Did we not pay a fee to look at that possibility when council was not in favor of that idea?
Conceptual report on possibilities of GEMS, zonings, warnings, in the various buildings. We're looking at concepts for the, it was the first step of a multi-step process, and that was just the first step.
How were we as a body able to show a disinterest and dissolve the idea back when in 2008 when it was very profitable for us to do that? As everyone well knows, where our XREC was back then and where it is now, and with the intentions of looking for redevelopment and the township to make revenue possibility was back in 2008, and this body found it not necessary to pursue that. We found reasons why not to, but never to investigate that. And the XREC was at almost 600. And now we're looking at it again, and again, we're going to pay a firm to do the same thing they did back then.
Again,
That's what I'm saying.
I think Mr. Cantwell described what the firm's doing different this time. There was an overall concept last time when we looked at it. If you remember, we had a bunch of companies coming in and everybody having different opinions on who should perform it, who should not do it, who's going to put $40 million down, who wasn't. I think there was still very, very much an unproven entity at the time. And as a result, we made the decision at that time to not go forward with it. I think we've proven a lot of different things here. We have on this building alone and on many other buildings, solar panels. I think we've done a lot of interlocal agreements with a lot of different entities. We got reductions in our trash. Ray, you can stand up there all you want and try to pick on it. I think, again, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you 1%. I don't agree with you with any of it. We have been looking at the most fiscally responsible way of providing the services. We looked, the mayor has done some unbelievable things with trash and getting different other municipalities together. He just told you about one that we're doing with the school boards that has never been done in the state and was approved by the state. So again, we're looking not only this year, we're looking down the line, and I think we're doing a good job.
You say you disagree with basically everything I've said. I made a comparison to 2008, and the XREC value was 600 as opposed to well under 200 today. And you believe that our township should go forward in a revenue-generating process?
You don't know what 600 was. You don't know what that was going to bring. You're just bringing a number out.
No, I actually pulled the XREC resource up and saw where it hovered in 2008 at about that level, never reaching 600, but hovering above 500 and in between 500 and 600, and the value is below 200, and I've charted that I'm not just speaking from my opinion, I'm speaking from the raw facts that are produced. And with that value, and looking forward to putting this up on GEMS, with the expectations of revenue, the revenue is less than one-third of what it was back then.
So you're
And
saying
it was a
not to
bad
do it?
idea to this council
Saying
then.
not to do it?
I'm not saying not to do it, but what was the hesitation that the council
At
had?
that time, the council at that time decided not to do it, right? I mean, but you're saying now we shouldn't do it because it was 600 before, now it's 200?
Well, back then, the plan and the project would have paid for itself much quicker at 3 times the value than it would now. What do you think the payout time would be before this is paid off? Whether we pay it with bonds or what have you, or are we going to be privileged to?
Artists can tell you that.
Are we going to be privileged to more grant money to have this done? To have the proposal for to have the work done on the GEMS landfill.
It would probably be handled as a PPA, which means that there'd be a third party that comes in and does everything, sets everything up, and then reimburses the municipality.
Okay, and we still think that we'll.
Same thing we're doing with Owens Corning right now. Project Navigator has been awarded that project. They're moving through the BPU, trying to get all the approvals, and we expect that to come to fruition. That project will solely power the Choose Landing School. That'll be the only source of power for that school. In addition to that, we'll be able to sell back into the grid, and the township will get money back from that. If I'm incorrect, Mayor, please point out any.
No, you're almost correct. It goes to the school, but we do not sell the energy back under the PPA. The PPA provider does that, but we get the lease revenue from that.
So if I'm understanding that correctly, we're only getting the lease money back on that.
Well, right.
As opposed to what, getting what?
Yeah, I mean, this is a budget hearing, but now we're talking about SRECs. But let me just clarify for you so you understand exactly how this works. The PPA provider, which will reimburse the township for costs that you just spoke about, including engineering costs that leads up to that project, that PPA provider will sell to Choose School District for 5 cents a kilowatt, which is a great deal.
I'm sorry, what was that number?
5 cents a kilowatt, which is very, very good, a very good price to Choose School. So we have taxpayer savings there. We then have revenue that's generated from the lease of that property. And there's a yearly, for 15 years, Tom, there's a yearly lease. I forget the exact figures on that lease. But it's thousands and thousands of dollars to the township. We're taking a piece of property that you can't do anything with, that is classified as a brownfield, and actually generating revenue and helping the taxpayer save revenue at the Choose School. It's a very, very good product.
And my point was, council still doesn't feel that was a missed opportunity back in 2008.
Right, we're on the public hearing for the budget, so I would ask that you finish
The
up.
point was, the money that's being spent, and again, in monies that we're spending on doing the survey on the same specific property that we did back then. It's just a repeat money and various other things like that.
Which again will be reimbursable by the PPA.
We'll see about that. And again, we're going to agree to disagree, but I firmly believe that this town missed a great opportunity back in 2008.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the public hearing of the budget? Seeing no other hands, I close the public hearing of the 2012 calendar year budget. Motions?
Oh, sorry. Raffle application 1312, Our Lady of Hope Altar and Rosary Society, October 28th, 2012.
Motion to approve. On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Gintak?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Banking?
Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Mayor's report?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council, and members of Troop 126, Chris, Danny, Luke, and Gregory. Great job today. Welcome to our council meeting. Hope you learned about government. You had a tour earlier with our police department and the municipal hall, and then we met in the mayor's office. So I hope you found this to be educational, and I appreciate you caring enough to see what's going on in your community. Just a couple quick things. Number one, the refinancing of the debt. As Tom alluded to earlier, this is just another example of us being very proactive in reducing or refinancing our debt. We went from a percentage rate of 3.85% to a percentage rate of 1.75%. And that's a savings of $231,000 to the taxpayers. Over the last several years, that brings the total up to $765,000 in savings that we've been able to accomplish. And I thank Tom for his help with that. As I mentioned earlier, the ESIP program, Energy Savings Improvement Program, is really something that we have been able to take advantage of under our Energy Master Plan that we have put together, that not only includes solar and single stream recycling, but also looking at ways we can save our utility costs by changing, the lights and putting timers on in various rooms and boilers, air conditioning units. And we were able to do this with the Black Horse Pike Regional School District because, again, this is a great example of a shared services arrangement that, as I mentioned earlier, has not been done in the state of New Jersey, and this was the first approved application by the local finance board regarding this. So I thank the Black Horse Pike Regional School District for their cooperation. Kevin Butcheroni, who is the vice president, was very helpful in moving that forward. So I thank him and their board. A couple things. Earth Day was this past Saturday, and I think Councilwoman Gentek will talk about that. But and the troop, some of the members of the troop were out, and we really appreciate their efforts. Did a great Earth Day at the Gabriel Davies Tavern and our community gardens. Take a look at that. It was remarkable what they did. We do have an open house this Saturday at the Gabriel Davies Tavern, which is the 28th from 1 to 4. Please come out and take a look at what our Historic Society is doing. We have Operation Take Back New Jersey this Saturday as well from 10 to 2 next door at the community center, where individuals can drop off their prescription drugs that they're expired and they're not using, and we will safely dispose of them. And then, of course, we have our bike rodeo on May the 5th. So, guys, if you come to our bike rodeo at Community Park, beginning at 9 a.m., and that's on May the 5th. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We do not have any GTE Gov access questions, and I will open up.
And I again thank the troop for coming out this evening, and I believe now they're going to leave, but they did a great job up there. So let's give Troop 126.
Bye, everyone.
I'll have the second public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on any subject, please raise your hand. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Alice Guarneri. I live at 515 Loch Lomond Drive in Riviera number 2. I live in the heart of the neighborhood. And my comment is that this neighborhood right now has a lot of drama problems. Police department knows that because they're down there just about every day. We have gatherings of teenagers up to 20 and gathering more, running the streets at night, creating havoc, creating damage. And my comment is, you want to add so-called affordable housing, 8 more units of the same kind of element. I walk that park every day, that beautiful park, and it is becoming graffitied. The playground equipment is being damaged, and it's being trashed by the kids in my neighborhood. and you're gonna have 80 more units, you're gonna end up with gangs. That park's not even gonna be enjoyed by the people of Gloucester Township, because gangs are gonna take it over. And don't think it can't happen, because I've been in my home 30 years. That neighborhood has dramatically changed. 80 more units of affordable housing butted up to us, you're creating a lot of problems. Second fact, this is for Chief Earl. Hi Chief, I'm Alice. And a couple of months back, I was at council, and you told me anytime we had issues in our neighborhood, couldn't get resolved, to call you. I called you 3 weeks ago. You haven't returned my call yet. So you're not, addressing the problems in that neighborhood, and you're going to add more. So keep this in mind. You don't have control of the neighborhood as of now, and you're going to create more havoc. And my one issue is, when I give a call out, what's an appropriate response for the chief to give me a call back? How many days?
Could I address?
Go ahead, Chief.
Actually, Mrs. Spinner, the last time we spoke, I had a meeting set for you November 2nd.
And 2 months later, though, sir? 2 months is not good enough, and we have real severe problems in our neighborhood.
If I could finish for a second?
Sure, go ahead.
And we had a meeting set for November 2nd. You canceled just moments before. I had an hour set aside for you, and your response was, well, I'll just see you at the council meeting.
Exactly.
And we're here tonight.
Exactly.
That time that I had that hour set for you, I had it all laid out and ready for you. Just before that meeting, from the end of June to October 31st, we were in your development 351 times.
I don't doubt that at all.
Okay, and they were patrols. They were not responding to calls for service. They were patrols. And out of those 351 times, 45 were specialized units that were sent to your complaints, to what you reported from that council meeting that you were.
But sometimes it's nice to talk directly to you. You did open up and offer that.
We had a meeting. We had a meeting set.
But you gave me a meeting for 2 months. That's a whole 60 days. That's a whole lot of time to wait when you have issues.
If you let me finish, because your parameters were very tight. It had to be on a Wednesday morning. I remember it clearly.
Exactly.
Right. The first Wednesday morning during that time frame that you had, that's when I was available. So I gave that to you, and all of this was done because of you. 351 times we're out there, and 45 by specialized units. So I understand you're upset about what you're seeing, but there aren't many other streets or residents, certainly, that are getting that police attention. So I understand you're upset.
Well, you know that we need that.
And you've gotten it.
Okay.
You've gotten it. So if you want to come back in, we'll go over everything, but it's there, and when we're seeing it, and that doesn't count the code enforcement investigations, which I know you've been upset about. That I think we were at 31 properties were cited, and we have 13 that we're looking at now. I was on your street on Thursday looking at one that you called about. So if you have every right to be upset now.
But you have to understand, we're going to stay on top of this.
The police department or myself is not responding to your complaint. I respectfully disagree with that.
I didn't say you're not responding. You're not returning my call. That was my complaint.
I had the meeting. I would have much rather meet you in person because I've spoken with you on the phone before.
But this was the past, sir.
It's hard to relay the information that I had to you over the phone, quite honestly.
Well, you're talking about something that was back in November. I'm talking about I called you 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
Well, I actually got the call Thursday, and that's why I drove out to the street.
Like I said, okay, fine. But like I said, I still didn't get a return call. And the thing is, you wouldn't have no clue what I'm calling about. It might not even relate to the complaint. It might be something else. And you did,
It was very clear, actually, in that respect. It's about the home across the street, which I looked at specifically. Like I said, now the code is following up on that rather quickly.
Well, like I said, what's a good timeline? But when I do have to call you directly, what's a fair timeline for you to call me back?
I can't get that answer. I honestly can't.
Okay, good enough. I know where we stand.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, council. My name is Michael Guarneri. I live on 515 Loch Lomond Drive, and I give this question to Chief Earl. Everything you said is not true, sir. She's called you 3 times. Nobody waits 2 months for an appointment. I can get an appointment faster with the Pope, okay? Because you don't care what's going on in our community.
Sir?
Okay?
Sir, calm down.
I'm calm.
Calm down.
I'm calm, sir.
And just,
I have a right to speak.
But you do, but calm down. And
When somebody don't answer your phone calls and somebody don't take care of the problems, you all sit up there in your neighborhoods, oil changes, brake jobs, We couldn't have pink trash cans, am I right, Mayor? Because the roads were too tight in the neighborhood, am I correct? Well, how come they can put cars on cinder blocks? How come they can change oils around my property? They don't even live around my property. But guess what? I know where all of you live, and I'm going to bring people from my neighborhood, and we're going to do brake jobs and oil changes around your property, and then the police can't do nothing because they don't do nothing in my community. So I guess it's okay to do road work. And we just had a guy 2 doors down who put up a plastic covering, a construction thing, and spray painted. We had to inhale fumes for 3 days because he spray painted his car in the driveway. Now, is that what we're about? And you're going to put 80 units when you got gangs, you got breakage, you got beer bottles, drinking all night, and you're putting 80 units in the same neighborhood? You have no clue because you don't live there. We live there 24/7. By not enforcing the law, Chief Earl, and I love John Stolzheimer because John Stolzheimer cared about that community and he was down there every day, or he did anything we asked him to do. You have not responded once, and you got paperwork there that says we don't see it, okay? But when you put 80 units down there, it's going to be worse. Do you understand it's going to be worse? It's not in your neighborhood, so you don't care. I have 2 officers that are retired from Camden that want to come to one of these meetings. You know how Camden got started? It got started by letting this law go, letting that law go, not enforcing that, and not enforcing this, and Camden became what it is today because of that. And you're creating the same problem in our neighborhood, because you don't enforce helmets, you don't enforce parking, you don't enforce cars being... Would you like cars being changed and oil changes and brake jobs done around your property when they don't even live there? And then when the police come out, they say, get it cleaned up in 3 or 4 days? So I know when I come to Cobblestone, sir, I can change my oil and get 3-4 days to do it, right? You don't mind that, am I right, Mayor? I don't care where you live. Somebody here does, but we'll know where you live. But do you think it's right? Cars on 4 cinder blocks. Cars in the middle of the street. You told me you couldn't empty the trash cans because it's too tight. When you leave the Revere Run number 2, when you live in our development, you got to zigzag all the way through the things because there's all kinds of cars broken down. It's like a garage. It's now become an auto mechanic shop on the street. I want to know why they can do this stuff on the street. Every house has 2-car garages. Every house has 2-car garage, two cars to fit in the garage. Why can't they do it in their... I don't have a problem if it's in their... But why around my property? Why can't we... We have no stop signs in the neighborhood. We have no... It's a racetrack. If you know Loch Lomond Drive, you've all been down there, it's one long straight run. You wouldn't put in speed bumps years ago because you said they were against the law, but I go into every new development, they got them. It's a racetrack. You can't stop it, and you say all the patrol you got, well, come down there, and why ain't curfew enforced? Do you think I gotta get up 4 o'clock tomorrow morning to go to work? And I gotta look out my window all night because they're drinking, they're breaking beer bottles, but it's not in your neighborhood, so you don't care, and it's not none of yours. But when these 80 units get built, you're turning Gloucester Township into a ghetto, and that's what's gonna happen.
Anyone else? Mr. Gladden.
Leave it off. Leave it off.
44 Grains Way. I'll notify you. I tip my hat to the people I respect. Okay? So, right now, I would like to say the development that you guys put on hold of the amendment, I will tip my hat to Dan Hutchin for asking the questions about what's it going to do to our schools and what's going to do to everything else. Now it goes back on my head. Now, to everybody else, the wag. Well, you think it's disrespectful?
Laura, please, let him talk.
Okay.
Mr. Gladden, face the council, talk for us.
Okay, now the wag of the finger. One thing that I notice in town, we're patting each other on the back a lot, but we're not actually looking around town and seeing that we're getting anything done. Is that correct? Nothing gets done in this town. Everything's studied. We'll do this, we'll push it off to the side. Last year at this time, we were talking about having these big, gigantic baseball fields down at the old military base down off of Sicklerville Road. They're gone, aren't they?
It's a private developer.
That project's done?
No, it's not done, but it was a private developer that did not get the funding that he thought he was going to get. I believe it's back on the board, and they're still working on it. But that's not the township's fault. That's the guy who could not get the funding.
Yeah, but you guys towed it around, pushed it. It was like, here's something to eat, here's an ice cream bar, but you can't have it. Because last year you were saying it was going to be done by August and we're going to have a tournament. Did you or did you not say that, President of Council?
No, that was
you did not state that.
That was his projection. That was not us. He had ideas of having his first tournament in August. That was his.
And then you say that we're going to have an tournament there in August. That's exactly your words.
That was his projection.
Okay, so you went off of his projection without notifying that he didn't have the funds to do it. Why can't we help him create something for our kids? Like I've been saying for a year here, we're not invested in our youth. There's nothing for our youth to do. I feel sorry for your neighborhood because, like I said, I seen the kids out there. I coach a little bit too, and I see it, and they all say there ain't nothing for these kids to do around here. We got a Blackwood Clementon Road that's been abandoned for decades now. It's been a decade, right, since that Superfresh has been closed down, right, Tom? You're the business administrator. You know what I mean? Businesses. You can see that whole Blackwood Clementon Road. That's nothing. You know what I mean? Why couldn't we put a fun center in there, like an indoor skate park?
That gentleman that owns it, he's paying the taxes.
He's paying the taxes, so he's using it as a tax write-off. Why we got to sit there and look at the abandoned building? We can't take him to court, but we're going to take people to court for pay to play. We're going to waste money for play to play when it's been proven that, you know what I mean? You should just put it on the ballot and let the people decide.
What is the basis of going after him if he's paying the taxes?
Don't we have property enforcement? Doesn't it have to look good? If you go there, don't we have an enforcement? Don't we have a property for you? You got to maintain your property in Gloucester Township?
Darren, it's not like it looked like Eastside Marriott. It's different.
You're not
getting.
getting.
I don't see any code violations. If there's code violations, I'm sure the chief will be taken care of.
Okay, chief, take a patrol around there. You can see they're dumping in the back of the Superfresh. Okay, another thing. Proactive, even though the budget we're getting zero, and like he said, you're not giving nothing back to the taxes, but our services are come on, the services are going down. We can't even put trash cans in the parks and you know what I mean, to let our coaches and our parents clean up after themselves.
That's not true. I listen to this every single
You know what, lady? Sit your ass down! I'll tell you something! Just something! Do something! Do your job! Do your job!
I do my job.
No, you don't!
Mr.
I'm
Gladden!
here to lie.
Mr. Gladden!
That's it, I had enough.
You're lies! You're lies! Yo! Lies!
Mr. Gladden! Mr. Gladden, that's enough. That's enough. I will clear this room if this continues.
One more second.
That's enough, you're done.
You're a public works official.
That's enough. You're out.
You're public.
That's enough, Mr. Gladden. That's enough. Chief? Well, Chief's in there. Sir, if this continues, we will ask you to clear the room. That's enough. Sir, you had your hand up.
Thank you. Jim Williams, 3 Tiffany Place in Ariel. Mr. President, council members, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to apologize for some of the rudeness that has been shown over the last 10 or 15 minutes. It's an absolute and total disgrace. I've been in this township for 30 years and never, all the meetings I've come to, never seen anything like I've just witnessed by some of these residents, so-called residents. There are people that come to this meeting that all they do, it's nothing but negative, negative things they say about council, public works, the mayor, and so on and so forth. I just can't explain the heartache, the actual heartache it is to see in a display of, I'll use the term lightly, people who come to this meeting and have nothing but negative and bad things to say. Anyway, first of all, I'd like to thank the mayor for the budget. Again, I've been here, like I said, 30 years. And it's nice to see something going. As far as I'm concerned, it's in a positive way, and it's not in a negative way. Hands are shaking. I wanted to ask, and I guess Mr. Plum wasn't here, but I just didn't know I was asking my wife, my wife turned 66, and I was just wondering, I went to ask about a senior citizen discount for the home, and I was told that it's for senior citizens that turn 65 or 66, but the gross income is $10,000. I think I might be able to look at if it's, I mean, that's below the poverty line, I think.
We can get Chuck Palumbo to talk to you,
Yeah.
to help you out with that.
Yeah, if there's an application form, maybe if, Council President, if I can, just, if you can give your phone number to the clerk, they can give it to Chuck to reach out.
Which-
Chuck's right back there. He can help you with that.
All right. Well, she's still working, but whenever she retires, since I'm on disability, it kind of helps senior citizens, and the senior citizens are the one I think right now are the ones that really in the township need help. Everyone needs help, but the chief isn't here. But I was wondering about the red lights. Last year, the tickets that were issued, the summons that were issued, is in the budget. I don't know if is that gross income, and then is there a percentage that are not collected, or I don't know how that works.
Red light camera?
The red light cameras, yeah. I mean, is there a percentage of what are issued do we collect? I was just wondering.
$85 ticket, the township retains $73.50, and the state of New Jersey gets $11.50.
Okay. But out of all the summonses that were distributed, was there a percentage that was collected? Or do we know what the percentage is? Is it a high percentage or not?
Are you
Okay.
talking about collection rate? Is that what
Yes, that's what I meant.
I don't know off the top of my head what that is.
So we could get that number.
No, I was just wondering, I had one other thing. My daughter teaches in one of the schools, and the schools, some of the schools are really inundated with bugs, ants, and so on and so forth. I know that when the exterminators come in, there's certain something that they can't put down or something. But presently, we have an exterminator, and they spray the outside. I don't know if that would be more costly than anything, but they spray the outside, and they do like a 3-foot inside or outside, and then 3 foot up. And I'll be honest with you, since we've had these exterminators, we have not had any bugs in our home itself. I don't know if that's worth thinking about, I don't know what the cost factor would be for that, but literally, my daughter said one of the teachers, the kids cannot sit on the floor, the ants are so bad. So, choose Landing, yeah. She teaches kindergarten. Oh. It was a kindergarten and first grade teachers, and those children pretty much were on the floor because they do kind of a circle type thing on that, but she said it's really hard. She has children standing up. And like I said, I know the exterminators, there's certain things they can't put it down, but I think it might be worth looking into. And I want to just say from last meeting, I asked to have the park looked at in Sturbridge Oaks. And since then, the following day, there was a truck there vacuuming up the leaves. And it was an easy suggestion. I just had the collection things. So this is what we did in Brooklyn. We chained them to the posts, and they were chained to the posts. They came in, public works workers, and they blew out the basketball courts, took down a few trees and that, and it was just, the residents, when I was going by, I was watching this, and there was a few mothers there with their children, they said, this is just it's a godsend. So, I want to thank it. And after the meeting, I'd just like to say that Chief Earl had a representative come to me, because we had a few problems in the park and anticipated there might be some additional problems with some of the cars sitting there late at night with people sitting in the car not doing anything. And I was approached and said, anytime I need any, or I see something that might be a problem, to make a phone call and just leave, and it'll be taken care of. I have made a phone call, but it was nice to see that response. I want to say kudos to the Public Works, to the mayor, and to members of council. Thank you. I want to say to the chief.
Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we'll close the second public portion. Polling of directors and council, please.
Mr. Maffa? Mr. Lackner?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Farrell? Mr. Carlemere?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes, thank you very much for coming out this evening, for lasting through the entire meeting and for enduring some of the more uncomfortable parts. I think having the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts, having them out was phenomenal. It's really kind of what America's all about. I think they had a great time. And I think for the most part we all behaved while they were here, except for myself. I know the chief is not here, but I have a sense of pride when Mike and Alice came up and they brought their concerns to the attention, and our chief has the ability to address those concerns. And when he says we've been out there 351 times. 351 times. If that is not addressing the concerns of the citizenry, I don't know what is. Sometimes we cannot please everybody. But there is evidence that we are trying. I understand their frustration. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying we are trying our best. To Lenny, Lenny cares. What you saw this evening was passion. This is a man who's working 7 days a week at trying to do that job the best that he possibly can with the resources that he's been given. So please understand that. Thank you.
Mr. Schmidt?
I too would like to thank everyone for your comments this evening and for staying. And best wishes to Joyce Seiler, who's in the hospital right now. We wish her our best. Thank you.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes, I have one question for Mr. Carter's about the budget. What impact, if any, the present solar system has had on the present budget?
We had calculated a savings in our utility bill of approximately $12,500 per year.
Okay. And some of the residents spoke tonight about the excess, getting it back. And I'm in agreement with the action that council took, that we should have a reserve. Maybe at some point when we generate more revenue, we may reach a point where we can do that. But I think at the present time, we shouldn't do that. And I think Chuck Palumbo, his cheerleaders, they did a great job, and they deserve the recognition that they received tonight. Thank you.
Mrs. Genta?
I'd also like to thank everyone for coming out. To the cheerleaders, congratulations to them. Gregory was funny while he was sitting up here. He was very concerned that his mom was going to be furious because it was getting past his bedtime. So I assured him we would make sure he got him. But I'd also, the Cub Scouts came to Earth Day and they helped out, and they worked so hard. So I thank them for that. I thank, we had the Highland Green team there, the environmental groups were there, the Boy Scouts, the Brownies. I'd like to thank the Historical Society for, they actually opened up the house and had the kids go in and see the arrowheads from the Indians. And Sharon Mickle, she's watching, thank you so much. She did such a terrific job, so I thank her I'm sorry that Len isn't here because I have to tell you, Sharon and I just laughed because we put Len through a lot, and he has always taken care of everything that we needed him to do to make Earth Day such a success. In fact, us at the last minute needing him to go out and purchase things and bringing them to us on Saturday. So that's the type of man that Len is, that if you need him, he's going to be there to do it for you. So, Len, I wish you were here, but thank you so much. And thanks Public Works for everything. I also thank the police department that they were there to watch over everybody and make sure everybody was safe. So it was a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Mrs. Strada?
Thank you, everyone, for coming out, and for those that are watching at home, congratulations to the cheerleaders. I know they work very hard to accomplish their goals. And I thank council for allowing me to be a part of the budget process, being it's my first term as council person. It was a great experience, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm really proud to be able to go back to those that I know and that I meet to be able to say that I was a part of a zero tax increase. And it's a great honor to be able to share with the residents of Gloucester Township all the great things that are going on in Gloucester Township. And I truly believe that there are a lot of great things going on, and I think that there are truly a lot of people that care about Gloucester Township. And thank you, Mr. Williams, for your comments. Thank you.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Congratulations to the Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association Wildcats, and under the leadership of Mr. Palumbo. He's run that program for about 30 years plus, and continues to put out a wonderful product. A couple things I wanted to address. One, the 5K race, I want to thank everyone who participated. That was our highest participation rate. We had 176 total between our runners and those who did the 1 mile run, and our highest grossing and fundraising amount in the 16 years that we've run this 5K race. So I want to thank the police department, specifically Lieutenant McKendry, and traffic control, all our special officers that were out there, Public Works, EMS that was out there, our volunteers, the scholarship committee, and also the mayor for lending his name on our fundraising letters to our sponsors. So thank you very much. A couple things that I want to bring up about some topics I brought up. Mr. Polidoro asked a question about why in 2008 council did not move forward with the GEMS landfill project. And I speak for myself, Ray. Quite frankly, I didn't think the previous administration had the capacity to even follow through with that. There was talk about putting windmills there. There was talk about piercing the cap. There were people coming off of the train off of Washington, D.C. saying, sign a document and we'll do whatever you want to put on the landfill. At the time, I don't believe that the administration had the capacity to move forward with that. And that's my own personal opinion. So I hope I answered your question. There was no plan in place. Second, there are misconceptions about what affordable housing is. And I'm sure the planner could fill anyone in with it, but in my dealings with affordable housing when I worked in Camden and also my time on the planning board, affordable housing is for individuals that could be teachers, they could be police officers, they could be clerks that work at the local Kmart or the ShopRite. There are income requirements for it. And I get offended when individuals come up here and they talk about an element. And I'll tell you about my personal story. My father died when I was 13 years of age, and my mother was a widow at 37 with 3 kids. We would have been considered for affordable housing. Fortunately, we had a house that we lived in. My mother could not make over $6,000 a year because she gets Social Security benefits, $400 for each child and herself. So a total income of $25,000 and change a year. Could not go over that amount. I would be considered affordable housing. I'm not an element. So when people say that there's a certain element that's moving into this township or could move into this township, I take great offense to that because the perceived element, for instance, the 3 Mercado kids who all went to college and all went to grad school or law school, would have fit in this affordable housing project. Here's an opportunity to take a parcel of land here, develop that land, and lift that neighborhood up. So if anyone has any questions about affordable housing, go online, Google it, contact their planner, find out what the income requirements are for affordable housing. Affordable housing is very different than Section 8. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Mr. Bianchini?
Thank you to all the residents for attending tonight's meeting. I, too, want to congratulate the cheerleaders of the Gloucester Township Girls Athletic Association. Year in and year out, they perform at a high level in representing Gloucester Township. And if anybody doesn't think cheerleaders are athletes, I think you see the result right in front of you with those young ladies. I agree with Mr. Mercado. I think there's a definite misconception of affordable housing. If you think of people making $30,000 to $40,000, which is most college-educated people coming out, they're in affordable housing. You think of a young lady who just graduated from cosmetology school. She's making $15,000 a year. That's affordable housing. And believe it or not, folks, we have a lot of those people right in our own township. That doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean they're criminals. That doesn't mean anything negative. It means they need a little help. Fortunately, my daughters are able to live with me so they can get some money and able to hold it and then get on their own. But there's not a lot of people out there that can do that. So we could sit here and we could pontificate about how bad things are. And you know what? A neighborhood's made up of people, not just of elected officials or the police. We all must work together to make our community the best that it can be. As far as recreation, this township has invested and has worked with all the clubs in this township. We have over, I think, 4 or 5 different baseball organizations. We have 2 football organizations. We have a hockey organization, almost 700 kids. And we constantly hear that the kids don't have nothing to do. I think that's just a crutch that people want to use. They have plenty to do. They have other things. They have main stage. They have programs with the schools. They could go and they could do a ton of things, music, a lot of things. It's what you want to do. It's what you want to push these children to do. You can blame the township, you can blame the government, but I got to tell you, in Gloucester Township, we provide a lot of things for our children. And I'm proud of what we provide. We're now providing a field of dreams for handicapped children. There's not many of them around, but we're doing that. And we're not doing it on the backs of the taxpayers. We're going and getting donations. We're getting people to volunteer time and material. So again, people could come up and they could take shots, but I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud of the mayor. I'm proud of Tom. I'm proud of our directors. I'm proud of this council to work it. I'm proud of Tracy, her first time doing this, had a ton of questions, great questions, participated, wanted to know. That's what you want your elected officials to do. Not just rubber stamp it. She asked questions. She asked questions of everybody. And that's the important part of this. So I can go on for another hour, but I won't. And I ask that we continue to work together. Instead of yelling at each other, let's work together. That's the important thing. I think Mr. Williams just said it quite eloquently. Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Thank you and good night.
Yeah.